Welcome back to the Shacknews Awards. We're going to be talking about the best Nintendo Switch game of 2024. This is a game that was released in 2024 on the Nintendo Switch. That's it. That's what you need to be considered for this. So here are the nominees: Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Balatro, Mario and Luigi: Brothership, Super Monkey Ball: Banana Rumble, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom,
Ooh.
and last but not least, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Who wants to kick it off? Prince of Persia runs well on Switch. I think that's the most
I,
important thing, right, Ozzy?
I think in a year where a lot, even first party switches even first party Switch games are starting to struggle a little bit on that Switch hardware, Ubisoft somehow cracked the nut and got one of its AAA franchises to run well on Switch on 1080p and 60 frames a second. It looks gorgeous in TV and handheld mode. It's my platform of choice for it. I thought it was a fantastic job when other third parties and even Nintendo itself kind of is having a little trouble getting its games to optimally run well on that old Switch hardware.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to sing the praises of Prince of Persia again? We've talked about it in some other categories already. But yeah, I think the most important thing in this category is that it runs well and it's fun and it's not like a nerfed version of a game. Like you're getting the same game experience. I think is important.
We see way too many third-party Switch games that are nerfed ports or
Mortal Kombat 1
or watered down versions of like Mortal Kombat is like the patron saint for it, but like we see that way too often. And Ubisoft's like, nah, we're gonna make a good Switch version. And
I think The Witcher 3 was another port that was god awful on Switch. I haven't played. Isn't Red Dead 1 on Switch now?
I think so, yeah.
I believe
We trash on Ubisoft quite a bit, but I think that one of their greatest strengths is that they have such a long working relationship with Nintendo that I think they understand Nintendo's hardware a little bit better than most larger developers do.
And they're not making cloud versions like Capcom or like some other publisher.
They did that with an Assassin's Creed game though in the past, so it's not like they won't do that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do think specifically the platforming side of things, TJ, like they have a long track record of making Rayman games for Nintendo consoles, and yeah, they do have a good relationship. Yeah, you also got the Mario and Rabbids game. So yeah, I agree with that. I think they do have a pretty good relationship with Nintendo. But yeah. Next up though, Balatro. Man.
I bought it on Switch this week. It got its hooks into me. Man, that is a great handheld game and something that you just watch. You don't even watch the hours flow by. You just like have a full run and then you look at the clock and you're like, how the hell did 2 hours already pass?
Yeah, if you want 45 minutes to just disappear, that's your game. It just moves you forward in life. It's a fast forward button for life. But it's also fun and engaging and it expansive and rewarding. Yeah, I love it. It's an amazing video game and it runs it's not a game you have to be worried about how it runs. It's a card game, but it runs well on Switch. It maps well to button controls, because it is a game that I can see a lot of people playing it on PC with a mouse, right? Like that's probably how it was originally designed, but
that's how I reviewed it.
Yeah, and it maps perfectly to Switch, and then it also translates extremely well to mobile. This is not the mobile category, but I just want to mention, like, it's available on multiple platforms, and it runs well on every single platform, and it's the same experience on every single platform.
This is ahead of the curve because if this had not come out on Switch, it would be in our game that should be on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, 100% would have won that award, no doubt. But it is on Switch. It's a great game that was released on Switch. I think it's one of the best games to be released on Switch this year. So definitely deserving of the nomination. Mario and Luigi Brothership. The first party title on our list here. It's a Mario and Luigi game, Ozzy, made by the Octopath devs.
This is a series that I thought was dead because, you know, rest in peace to the old Mario and Luigi devs who had a lot of alumni from Super Mario RPG. They put a lot of heart into that series, and when they went under, it was a very sad day for me. So this was a surprise that the Octopath devs picked up the baton for Mario and Luigi. They understand the gameplay and they understand a long, not drawn out is the wrong term, but like a long, comprehensive story that comes together towards the end. And they have a lot of respect for the continuity of the Mario and Luigi series. I really enjoyed this. I think I was in for the ride, like from start to finish, and it's a long ride compared to the old Mario and Luigi games. This is like about a 50-hour game, and it got padded out a little bit, especially especially towards the beginning. But if you stick with that ride, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it's a great story. I think the combat is as good as ever. The turn-based combat with the bros moves are still as engaging as ever. And yeah, it's probably my favorite Mario RPG in the series, maybe next to the original.
This is hard for me because I don't know if I like Brothership more than I like the Thousand Year Door remake, and that's just kind of because I was always a Thousand Year Door fan.
Mhm.
I I don't know, like Brothership is cool, and I love the Octopath Traveler devs, but like I don't know. Has anyone else played both games?
I will say
Not the
this.
original Mario. Sorry, Ozzy. Not the original Thousand Year Door.
You played the remake?
No, I'm sorry. Not the remake. I've played the original.
Okay, you played the
Multiple times.
GameCube. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to playing Brothership. I've just watched a lot of Ozzy's gameplay.
I will say this for Brothership. I love the respect that they give to Luigi too, because so
Yes.
many other games have painted Luigi as like the comedy relief, and he still is that. But they've
Mhm.
but there is a sincerity and a heart to Luigi in this story,
Finally.
and a lot of that comes from the Luigi logic that
Yeah.
pops up, like in some of the overworld segments, and also during the boss battles, which give the boss battles like a more cinematic flair to them.
Mhm.
And I think the Luigi logic is like one of the coolest ideas that have come across in one of these RPG games, and that's probably what puts Brothership over the top for in comparison to the other games.
When Luigi
Interesting.
gets a chance to shine, it's always funny to see how divided the community gets on him because there's like a lot of us enjoy Luigi, but there's a contingent of people that just can't stand him for some reason.
Well, good people like Luigi.
Right.
Bad
Correct.
people don't. That's all you
Right.
need to know.
I-
If you look at Luigi and you say anything bad, I'm sorry that your heart is just coal. Because like, how can you look at that man? How can you look at Luigi and be like, "Yeah, fuck that guy in particular"? I'm like, no, he's adorable. And Luigi logic. Who needs AI? Who needs a GPT when you have
Luigi logic.
I'm not gonna go
Bar.
too much farther on this point out of fear of spoilers, but there is a narrative reason for Luigi logic, and when you get to it, it's kind of heartwarming. I'm not gonna lie.
Hell yeah. He is a heartwarming character. And yeah, I love it when Luigi gets to stand at the same height, like next to Mario. It's not some lesser dude. He's not player 2. He's actually a character. Yeah, I got to play Brothership. The art style is outstanding. The music's really good.
Some of the best music that I've heard in a long
Music
time.
is fantastic.
It's almost I hate to say this because I love puns. There might be too many puns in that game.
Okay, the
should be-
humor is not going to hit for everybody.
There's never too many puns.
This might be the time where there's too many puns, Greg. Like, there's a lot of puns in the game. It's like you can't go 2 minutes without some sort of pun being thrown in your face. And it's just,
That is the one negative I'll give to Brothership. Alpha Dream understood humor, and they understood like how to localize a lot of that Japanese humor for American audiences. The Octopath devs, maybe not so much. A lot of that humor doesn't land.
But the Mario gibberish speak, like the way that they talk to each other, that's still
great.
That is still funny.
That'll never get old.
I can listen to that all day. So yeah, definitely a good first-party title to be nominated in this category. Here's a Sega game that was published by Nintendo this year. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble is getting a nomination here. It's a very competent game, platform puzzler, in the style of all the other games. It's missing Monkey Target, David, which makes it inherently worse than Super Monkey Ball 2 or 1. But it does have like some new online gameplay features.
It's got like a party mode. Yeah, it's got like different party games, which is kind of cool.
And it is still better than the last Monkey Ball game.
It's better than Banana Blitz. It's not better than Banana. I don't know. It's up there with Banana Mania had bowling and Target. So it depends what you play these games for. The way I've been playing Banana Rumble Ozzy's single player almost exclusively, and for the longest time I disagreed with your review. I was like, this game isn't that hard. This game isn't that hard. And then it's not a difficulty spike. It's like a difficulty, like, I don't know, rocket launch.
I tried to warn you.
It goes from like, oh, this is a fun, cute game to this is the hardest platform puzzle game I've ever played. And so many of the times,
almost.
Yeah, so many times you just have to try to yeet yourself through a level, like, and just hope that you bounce into the right thing. And that's where
when you pull it off, it feels good, but that shouldn't be the idea.
No, and it doesn't feel rewarding because, like, what was cool about all the other maze levels and all these other puzzle levels that they've had in the past was that, yes, they were challenging, but it wasn't just RNG, it was skill. And I think that's where they missed on some of these levels. But I'm talking World 10, World 9, and beyond. Outside of that, like, it is really fun. My friend's kids were visiting in August, and this was the game that, like, they hadn't seen before, and they went crazy over it. So it was fun to see like young kids experience the Monkey Ball franchise for the first time. I'm happy the franchise is still around because it is a cute, fun game that fits on Nintendo very well. But yeah, I don't know if this was the best entry in that.
We talked about Ubisoft having a good relationship with Nintendo. Sega has a good relationship with Nintendo, and they've made some good Switch exclusives over the last few years. This is definitely one of them.
Yeah, for sure. And now we have a couple more Nintendo first-party titles before we vote in this category. I had the pleasure of reviewing The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom earlier this year. I gave it a 10 out of 10. And then it got left off of everyone's Game of the Year list that isn't at Shacknews. And I was like, is this a bad game? Like, am I wrong?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good to know.
It's the children who are wrong.
Look,
I definitely felt like Skinner for a second there, though. I was like,
the moment that the game showed me that I could just summon an army of bats and throw them at anything that offends me, this game locked its hooks into me pretty hard. Like, that game is ridiculous in its gameplay, and I love it. I love the idea of Zelda being a magic goblin that runs around summoning monsters to do her will.
You give her a magic wand and this funny side, NPC character who like is learning how to learning the human experience and throwing an old bed, and you have one of the best games they've ever made.
And Ozzy's favorite, rocks. He loves throwing rocks.
Exactly, I love throwing rocks. And
who needs rocks when you have sea urchins, man? Sea urchins.
Ozzy likes the rocks
with armies of crows. And
Ozzy, I beat the final boss with sea urchins.
By the way, this discussion goes to show like how much imagination this game has.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
It's so open-ended. You can tackle the bosses in so many different ways. You can take on the dungeons and come up with different solutions. Like, I love what this presents to you and the different way that you can play a 2D Zelda.
And maybe an optimal way.
It's a top-down open world with side quests for the first time in a top-down Zelda that aren't lame. They just feel like part of the game, right? Like they never feel like, oh, this is stupid, it's taking me out of my way. No, it shows up at the right time. You figure it out at the right time. You move on. The whole rift mechanic is very cool because it's like a new take on the depths and the Sky Islands, in my opinion, where it's like these rift worlds are different. Each one is different. The entries are different. I think
a more linear take on the depths.
Yeah. The music in this game is simply outstanding. The sound design as well. But the overworld music in this game is like one of the best Nintendo songs they've made in like, I don't know, recent years. I don't want this to go by. We kind of glossed over it, but this is the first game where you get to play as Zelda. That's a big deal. This is a Zelda origin story too. Like they explain why Link doesn't talk in this. They talk about like she doesn't know Link. She doesn't know his name. He's the swordsman, right? Like he's a swordsman who fails to save her at the beginning of the game, right? So getting to see the game from Zelda's perspective and a young Zelda's perspective before she's really a legend is cool. Because she's not as known in the kingdom. Because her father is there and alive, right? Where in most recent Zelda games,
I do appreciate that before he sinks into the depths, the last thing Link does is he shoots the arrow to try and free Zelda. Even as he's like potentially sinking to his death, he doesn't think of himself, and that's part of why. Like Link does not take a back seat to this story. Like even if you're playing as Zelda, Link is still the hero that he's always been, and I think that's an important part of this story is that it could have been very easily something where like you don't see Link until the very end, but he's working behind the scenes to try and help Zelda even as you're going. So Link and Zelda are almost equal in terms of heroism, and then that's hard
without spoiling it or anything, that the way they combine forces at times in the game, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that before in a 2D Zelda game. So it opens up new puzzle mechanics. I want to point out, like, there's so many gameplay systems that work in this game.
Yeah, and I actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's just, you know, like it opens the door to really unique puzzles and solutions for puzzles, but also created this whole new meta of just breaking the game. And I love open world games that can be glitched to all hell. And the flying bed mechanic, all these different things you can do in it. There's so much emergent gameplay that comes out of this game that month after it released, just ridiculous videos every day on the internet. Look at this most absurd thing I built today. Or, you know, it's Nintendo realized that Ultra Hand is cool and they're going to use it in more than just one Zelda game ever. Like Ultra Hand is maybe one of their best ideas. And it's just cool to see a similar gameplay mechanic applied to a different game and to see it work so well. But yeah, sorry, TJ, go ahead.
I just think it's like making the sword, the thing that you've always had since the beginning of the game, a limited resource. I think that's great for like pushing you to come up with those solutions and pushing you to be creative, because you can't just press an X button and hit somebody.
Who needs a sword? I have sea urchins.
And like I'll never like
and rocks.
I'll never forget the first time I dropped a meat in front of the moblins, and then I grabbed a giant boulder and just dropped it on all of them and pancaked them all. It's like you could be so devious about it all.
Yeah, it's a game that rewards experimentation like that, which I love because you can just sit there forever. I had to play it for review, so I felt kind of bad. Like it's a pretty sizable game, so I was just chugging through it as fast as I could. So I mentioned this on the Shack Together podcast, but like I beat the game without finding the horse. Like I didn't even find the horse. And Ozzy, like the first thing Ozzy did when he played the game was find the horse. Like he found the horse in the first 15 minutes of it.
Well, I found a horse.
Yeah, sorry,
not the horse.
Yeah, you found a horse. But like for me to beat the entire game and then be like, oh yeah, I should probably go find a horse before I write this review. And I did. But like the way that the map unlocks and how similar that is to Breath of the Wild, right? Where like which which divine beast did you free first in Breath of the Wild is like a question that we can ask, and people will have different answers, and their game, the whole story of your time playing Breath of the Wild is kind of affected by your choices, right? All of that is here in Echoes of Wisdom in a different package, and I think it's a magical game, and a surprising one at that. Like I did not expect a Zelda game this year, and this is a banger. It's a very, very good Zelda game. But yeah, our last nominee, Super Mario Party Jamboree. This devious, evil game.
Ruins friendships.
It does,
But
and
but thank God not controllers anymore. That was the big thing.
I do appreciate that there are motion control games, but you can turn them off, and you don't have to use them.
No waggle. That's a plus in Ossus book.
No forced waggle. That's the important distinction. You can have waggle if you want, but
you can waggle. I'm fine with that. If Donovan wants to play Mario Kart with tilt controls, by all means, go ahead, Donovan. The option is perfectly fine, Greg. It's when they force you.
When they force you to waggle.
That's what I don't
Skyward Sword made you waggle.
From an accessibility standpoint, like, don't force people to waggle.
yeah, it's like the last WarioWare game. The last WarioWare game made you waggle. Wasn't a fan of it.
Non-starter for me. Didn't even buy it. But yeah,
Steve, you had something to say? I thought Steve had something to say.
No. I'll add some to it, but I'll let you finish.
Oh, but I will say this for Mario Party Jamboree, it's definitely like the prettiest Mario Party that I've played so far, and the attention to detail on designing a lot of these boards, whether it's like you're in the mall board and in between turns everybody goes shopping, and you're on the beach and like the tide goes in and out, and you see like Mushroom Kingdom Dennis and Bowser minions like all going about their routine to the point that it's almost like you're playing a board game around them instead of like designing a board game board for the sake of it. Like, does that make sense?
Kind of. But also the Bowser phone is hilarious in this game. That is
Bowser phone's back.
Bowser phone's back, but it's like even more devious. The whole part, is it called partner or buddy?
So you get your Jamboree buddy.
Yeah.
And the gimmick of this game is the Jamboree buddy, where every couple of turns you'll see a character that wasn't picked on the board somewhere, and if you pick them up, they'll do an extra action for you. They'll have like some effect on the board, but also anything you do is done twice. That includes like buying stars. You can buy stars twice. You can get coins. You get coins twice. You get an item. You'll buy an item twice. But it also means if you land on a Bowser space, you land on it twice. So if somebody uses a Bowser phone on you and you have a Jamboree buddy, the Bowser phone will trigger twice.
Brutal.
I think that's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun. It's a much more fun way to approach the Mario Party BS than Chance Time, which is still the bane of my existence. Chance Time's there, but it's not as prominent as it used to be, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Stealing stars would be a brawl. The final lap of the stage in the old Mario Party games, if you stole a star from a winning player, there would be fights. A physical altercation in Mario Party.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a party game,
it's supposed to be fun, but yeah.
Pretty mean party game.
I think Jamboree fixed a lot of those issues, though. Jamboree does seem like a more fun, chaotic party game than the older Mario Party titles.
Though. You won't hear me curse more than when we're playing Mario Kart, and that is a party game as well.
I think there's I think it might have been the Honest trailer that said there's a pro rule set that does away with a lot of the typical Mario Party BS, but it replaces it with different Mario Party BS. So like pro rules are more fair, quote unquote. It's just, it's different ways to screw your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, if you're not risking friendships, are you really playing a party game?
That's what I'm saying, Sam.
What's at stake?
I get it,
exactly.
Supposed to get the heart pumping.
How will they know you're the best?
Lifelong friends. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're risking friends playing this game.
Valid point. Anyone else want to chime in about any of the nominees before we get to voting? Otherwise, I think we should probably vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the online in Mario Jamboree is probably some of the better online features this game has. You can play daily minigames, weekly minigames on Minigame Island or whatever. And my favorite, the Koopathon, where you get to play random people. You play you have to do like 5 or 7 laps around the track, and the amount of coins you get in the minigame determines how many spaces you move. And then there's like after 3 games, you fight Bowser, and pretty much no one is going to win this Bowser game except for like 3 people, and then they get to stay where they were, and you, depending on your place, you get to move back like 40, 30, 20, or 15 spaces
Oof.
on the track. And I streamed it on the show, and I didn't win it on the show because I couldn't win the damn Bowser minigame because I was losing like 50 spaces because I was in the top 5 every time.
Koopathlon's brutal. It punishes
It's
you
nuts.
hard if you're in the lead.
Nice. Yeah. Definitely. Is it the best Mario Party game?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
That's
top
cool.
3 if it's not the best one.
Yeah, that's cool. Super Mario Party did pretty well too for them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to hear how well it sold on their next quarter or something, because that's a game that's a good holiday season game to have around when everyone's getting together and you want to ruin a party somehow.
If they don't let Jamboree die by not adding new content to it, it will be the best Mario Party. But
I
if
see
they
what
let
you're
it
saying.
rot like Superstars or whatever the other 2 were, then we'll have something to talk about.
What I think is interesting, Steve, is like this game will be playable on Switch too. So
Yes,
it stands to reason that they could do updates. Like, why
they
not?
should.
Yeah.
I mean, it can
It's
only
not
help
an
them.
anemic package as is, but yeah, there's more boards they could add, or games, or characters even. Cool. Let's get to voting. What do you say? Ozzy.
I'm gonna go. Balatro has his hooks in me, but I'm gonna go with Echoes of Wisdom just for the various reasons we discussed.
Yeah. Sam or Bill, not Sam.
Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah. Okay, now Sam.
Yay, Echoes. It's got to be Echoes.
Steve.
That's a tough one between 3 that I really like.
All the
I'm
first
gonna go
party.
with,
Yeah.
all the first party I could
Mhm.
say is the best Switch game. I'm gonna go Echoes. I just would have liked a little more balance between all the Echoes, in my opinion.
Sure.
I love the gameplay and everything, but when I found a like level 3 Lizardo or Lizalfo with a sword,
Yeah.
that's all, and water. That was pretty much all I used
Water.
other than the bed.
The water
bed.
cube is OP, man.
Oh yeah, totally. It still gets my nod for best Switch game,
Mhm.
but yeah,
It left you wanting more, I think it's
a
fair
little
to
bit,
say.
yeah.
That's perfectly fair. But I think where they got it right was the gameplay. Like Nintendo the way Nintendo makes games is they make gameplay experiences first, and then they figure out what franchise to put it in. That's clearly one of those games where they like,
Totally agree.
what if we put these mechanics in this game? Oh, this would be a good Zelda game. Yeah. David.
I'll go Zelda.
Yeah. Donovan.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Sweep. Pizza party.
Denny.
Echoes of Wisdom, maybe. We gotta give it to it.
Oh yeah. Greg.
Is it Echoes of Wisdom?
TJ.
Echoes.
I will also vote for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So that makes it a unanimous victor.
We did it.
This is not a pizza party, Greg. I heard you try to throw that in there.
It's an imaginary
There's
one
no
in my
pizza
head.
party on the line. You guys are just trying to angle 3 free pizzas out of me in a month. Damn. In this economy?
Three free.
Anyway, congratulations, Nintendo. You won the award for best Nintendo Switch game of the year 2024. In the stat category. Like, a lot of really good games. All these games are great. If you have a Switch, check out all these games. They're all worth playing. But I know you have to make your purchasing decisions, like figure out which one's for you or whatever, but all these games are good. But The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is just great, and it deserves this win. So congratulations, Nintendo and Doug Bowser. You have won the Shacknews Award for Best Nintendo Switch Game of the Year 2024.